Welcome back to Under Baobab Skies. Tonight, we find ourselves under the vast Namibian sky, where the sun pours liquid gold across the red-dusted earth and the wind whispers secrets through acacia and mopane trees. We pause here, at the edge of the Himba villages, where the air carries both the rich scent of cattle and the quiet, steady pulse of ancestors. It is here, among the women who rise before the first light of dawn, that we begin to understand a life measured not by minutes or hours, but by the rhythm of herds, the weight of ritual, and the ancient pulse of the land. The Himba people, long custodians of these northern lands, have shaped their entire existence around the trinity of cattle, soil, and sun. In this world, the herding women carry much more than milk and leather. They carry memory, they carry lineage, and they carry the sacred bond between earth and sky. From the very first light, they move with an incredible sense of purpose. Their feet are steady on the cracked soil, their eyes trained to catch the slightest flicker of a predator in the bush, the distant shimmer of water, or the subtle call of a child or an animal in need. Every single morning is a covenant, a silent promise renewed to sustain life in the harsh, yet deeply generous, Namibian plains. In these villages, each hut is a story etched in earth. Ochre-colored walls rise softly from the sand. Smoke spirals gently from hearths where women are already preparing food, and the sound of children's laughter mingles with the lowing of cattle and the distant calls of awakening birds. The sun has not yet fully crowned the horizon, but the rhythm of labor has already begun. Here, children mimic the women, learning from a young age how to tend to the goats, fetch water, and speak in the soft, coded cadences of a community that lives, moves, and breathes as one. Here, hands and feet, words and silences are all trained for the singular purpose of survival. The herding woman rises early, her body warmed by the embers of last night's fire and a deep well of endurance. Her mind is attuned to both her herd and to the spirit world. She knows the sun's passage across the sky like the back of her hand and understands the profound patience of the rivers that carve through this land. She reads the landscape as a storyteller reads an ancient scroll interpreting the rustle of dry grass, the shadow of a termite mound, the distant cry of a jackal. To her, the cattle are not merely animals. They are wealth, they are identity, they are living, breathing tradition. Each movement she makes carries the weight of generations who have lived, labored, and sung under these very same skies. Ochre, a paste made of butterfat and red earth, paints the skin of Himba women. This is not just for protection from the harsh sun. It is a living canvas of culture and ritual. Their intricate braids, twisted and adorned with shells and beads, communicate their age, their status, and their personal history. The jewelry they wear jingles softly with every movement, a subtle, constant hymn to their heritage and identity. Every morning, before stepping out onto the dusty cattle paths, they prepare themselves as one would prepare a sacred vessel. There is a quiet discipline in these acts, a deep devotion in every brush of ochre, every twist of hair, every careful placement of a bead. And then, as the sun rises higher, the call of the cows is heard across the village. Their horns shimmer with morning dew, and their hooves begin to drum a rhythmic beat against the dry earth. The women gather the herds, speaking to them softly, gesturing with practiced, confident hands. They know every individual animal, each one's temperament, its quirks, its history. To care for the cattle is to care for the very lifeblood of the community. To guard the herds is to guard both their survival and their story. This is a world fundamentally ordered by labor, ritual, and endurance. Yet, it is also a world overflowing with a unique and profound beauty, with music and vibrant color. Children's voices rise in simple, joyful songs as they play. Elders hum ancestral melodies while they work, and even the wind seems to carry its own rhythm through the mopane leaves. Through these daily patterns, the Himba women embody a living tradition, a strength tempered by an incredible grace, a duty infused with a natural poetry. Every step they take in the red dust is another line, written in an ongoing story, a story as ancient as the desert itself, and as resilient as the red soil beneath their feet. And so, we settle into their day, listening, learning, and witnessing the devotion of these women who rise before dawn, who move with the herds, and who mark their existence with incredible acts of care and artistry. They are teachers, they are guardians, and they are artists. Their labor is both profoundly necessary and deeply sacred. Thank you for joining us. If you feel a connection to these stories, please consider subscribing and joining our journey. You are now under baobab skies, and the story begins now. Before the sun crests the horizon, while the world is still painted in shades of grey and soft lavender, the Himba village begins to stir. Smoke, thin and fragrant, spirals up from clay hearths. The shadows of round huts stretch long and quiet across the rich, red soil. A herding woman emerges, her bare feet meeting the cool earth. The dust from yesterday clings to her ankles, a faint memory of the day's labor. Her movements are already deliberate, imbued with a quiet purpose. She kneads dough for the morning's bread, stirs porridge over the fire, and checks the precious water supply. Her body, conditioned by years of walking, running, and bending in perfect rhythm with her herd, is already awake, attuned to the tasks ahead. Her first duty is to the animals. She calls out to her goats, her cows, and her oxen, each by its given name. Their responses are a familiar chorus of recognition and curiosity. She murmurs to them in a low, steady tone, language built on generations of patience and subtle authority. The herd follows her, not as prisoners, but as willing companions in the great dance of survival. Every step she takes is measured, every call a practiced instruction, a piece of ancient custom the animals understand instinctively. Water is life, and it must be sought before the sun's heat becomes unforgiving. The river or the well lies at a distance. She lifts the heavy vessels, balancing them with an effortless grace on her head, a skill honed through countless repetitions. Her walk is fluid, a sacred rhythm of bending and rising, lifting and lowering, each movement a testament to her harmony with the earth. Along the winding path, her eyes are always scanning, reading the story written in the land, the hoof prints of a leopard, the subtle shift in the wind's direction, the dry shimmer of sun-scorched grasses. These signs tell her whether the day ahead will be one of ease or one fraught with danger. Once the water is gathered, she leads the animals to graze. Her attention is absolute as she watches the cows nibble on tender shoots and counts the goats to ensure none have strayed. She listens for the slightest cough or sign of fatigue, her mind expanding beyond her immediate surroundings, stretching out to encompass ancestors, distant pastures, and the far horizon. Every action she performs is an act of stewardship. She is a guardian of life, an interpreter of signs, a living vessel for the survival of her people, her culture threaded through the horn and hoof of the animals in her care. As the sun climbs higher, its heat intensifies. The shadows shrink, and the herd grows restless under its relentless gaze. The herding woman moves among them, a calming presence. She guides them with small whistles, gentle taps, and whispered words. Danger is a constant companion on these plains. Jackals and leopards are never far. Her vigilance is unwavering. Her eyes scan every rocky ridge, every line of acacia trees. The safety of her herd, and by extension, the entire village, rests squarely on her shoulders. Each step, each glance, is another stitch carefully woven into the vast, intricate tapestry of their existence. Often, the children are with her. They learn not from books, but by watching, by doing. A young girl, perhaps only 7 years old, mirrors her mother's every move. She mimics the calls to the herd, practices balancing a small water vessel on her head, and learns to spot the signs of danger. She comes to know the unique temperaments of each individual animal. Every day is an education. The village is their classroom, and the vast open plain is their curriculum, its lessons written in hoofprints and dust. Her mind and body are synchronized with the pulse of the herd. When an animal wanders, she moves with it, a silent shadow, coaxing it back without raising her voice. This is both strategy and ritual. Gentleness is her authority, and discipline is woven into the very fabric of every gesture. The morning unfolds as a meditation of movement, of repetition, and of deep, profound listening. By mid-morning, her duties begin to converge. While the herd grazes and drinks, she checks the simple fences made of branches, mending any damage. Sometimes she performs small, quiet rituals, honoring the ancestors and asking for their protection over the herd. Each practical task carries a deep spiritual weight. The land, the sky, the animals, they are all alive with meaning. Tending to them is an act of devotion, a continuous conversation with both the present and the past. The slow, cool rhythm of dawn gradually gives way to the full, warm breath of the day. The herding woman adjusts the pace of the animals, ensuring even the youngest calves can find shade, water, and nourishment. She anticipates every obstacle, hidden gully, a patch of thorny brush, a sudden gust of wind that might spook the herd. Her decisions are quick, silent, and precise, informed by a lifetime of learned instinct and the echoes of ancestral guidance. She is a living archive of knowledge, a history that cannot be written, but can only be walked, felt, and remembered. And so, the morning passes. It has been a symphony of bare feet on red earth, of horns and hooves, of wind and whispers. She has moved in concert with the sun, read the language of the land, guarded life, and passed her wisdom to the next generation, all before the fierce heat of noon demands its pause. This is the rhythm of her dawn, the opening stanza in a life woven from threads of endurance, care, and sacred purpose. The morning breaks across the red sands of Namibia, a golden light spilling over the plains. Here, a Himba herding woman begins her day, her movements filled with purpose, her steps steady and precise. As the sun rises, she approaches each animal in her care, not just as a guardian, but as a keeper of ancient wisdom. Her connection to the herd is more than just physical. It's a sacred dialogue, a ritual that bridges the gap between human and beast, ancestor and the living spirit. She kneels beside a cow, her hands gentle and knowing, tracing the contours of its body. This touch is both a diagnostic check and a ceremony. She feels for any wounds, signs of fatigue or illness. A small sore, a slight limp, nothing escapes her notice. Remedies, prepared from herbal lore passed down through countless generations, are already forming in her mind. Her gaze sweeps across the entire herd, observing the subtle social structures, the protective gestures of a mother towards her calf, the confident sway of a dominant bull. Every detail is a piece of a larger puzzle informing the day's journey, the order of grazing, and the ever-present watch for predators that lurk just beyond sight. The act of tending to her cattle is deeply intertwined with ritual. Before the herd moves out to graze, She performs a small yet profound act of gratitude. Pouring a libation of water onto the dry earth, she whispers words to her ancestors, asking for their protection, guidance, and the continued fertility of her animals. To an outsider, these gestures might seem insignificant, but they are the spiritual backbone of her labor. The animals themselves are believed to carry an ancestral presence, and by caring for them, she is upholding a sacred covenant of respect and harmony that has sustained her people for centuries. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Watering the herd is a delicate dance of balance and timing. She leads them to a river or a well, a pot balanced gracefully on her head, while ensuring every animal drinks safely. The young calves are guided, encouraged with gentle calls, their tentative steps nurtured by her patience. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, she calibrates every movement to the shifting light and temperature. Acutely aware of the dangers of fatigue and dehydration, a single misstep or a hurried gesture could send ripples of unease through the herd, causing them to scatter. Her rhythm is slow, deliberate, a cadence perfectly matched to the life and safety of those she protects. Beyond this physical care, her role is one of constant observation. She studies the grass, noting the dry, overgrazed patches and identifying the richer pastures where the herd must be moved. She listens to the wind, its whispers carrying warnings of predators. She feels the subtle tremor of distant hooves through the soles of her feet, sensing the movements of hidden wildlife. Every act of care is a study in attentiveness. Every glance is a measure of her readiness to respond. Her knowledge isn't written in books, but is encoded in her very being instinct, in gesture, and in the oral traditions passed down from mother to daughter. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. As the day warms, her tools and adornments become extensions of her will. The braided ropes, the sharp whistles, the smooth wooden staff used to guide the herdage is an object of meaning. Every knot in the rope, every specific call, every tap of the staff against the earth communicates with a precision that is instantly understood. The animals respond not to force, but to an unbroken language built on discipline, habit, and a deep mutual understanding. What unfolds across the plains is a choreography of survival, a silent music that only those initiated into its ancient patterns can truly comprehend. Even minor interruptions, a stray animal breaking from the group, an unexpected sound from the bush are met with a calm, controlled focus. She moves without haste, understanding that chaos can be a teacher as much as it is an adversary. Her body remains aligned with the contours of the land, her breath in sync with the slow, steady pace of the herd. Each morning is a cycle of learning, where the land and the animals teach her just as much as she teaches them. It is a continuous loop of vigilance, care, and profound connection. The women of the village are pillars of support for one another in these daily tasks. Shared labor is both a practical necessity and a ceremonial bond. While one woman tends to the young calves, another might be repairing the fences of the kraal. While one checks the water levels, another scans the horizon. Her eyes a watchful sentinel. The rhythm of their movements weaves the very fabric of community into their work, creating beautiful patterns of solidarity, apprenticeship, and mutual respect. Young girls shadow their mothers, their eyes wide, internalizing the precision, the patience, and the deep spiritual engagement that defines the sacred role of a Himba herding woman. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. By mid-morning, the most critical tasks are complete. The cattle are secure, their thirst quenched, and the pasture for the day has been carefully examined. The herding woman steps back, taking a moment for a final observation. She notes the alignment of the herd, the condition of each animal, and the overall health of the land that sustains them all. In these few short hours, she has woven her actions into the very fabric of survival, threading ritual, labor, observation, and teaching into a seamless, life-giving whole. The day is still young, yet the essential groundwork for endurance, safety, and harmony has been laid with expert care. Her work is an art form, a sacred duty, and a silent prayer, carried out with grace and strength beneath the vast, silent Namibian sky. The sun climbs higher over the arid plains of northern Namibia. Below, a Himba herding woman walks a path that is both familiar and profoundly solitary. Each step she takes echoes with responsibility, the care of her cattle, the safety of the calves, and the preservation of her community's very sustenance. Yet, alongside this vital duty lies a quieter, heavier weight, the distance from her family, the absence of intimate voices, and the deep longing for home that accompanies every hour spent in these sun-baked pastures. From the earliest light, she has left the village behind, carrying with her not just the physical tools of her labor, a sturdy rope, a well-worn staff, a calabash for water, but also the invisible burden of trust. Each animal in her charge represents the hard labor of her family, the collective wealth of her clan, and the sacred covenant made by her ancestors who entrusted this land and its creatures to human care. Her life is measured not in hours, but in footsteps and in moments of unwavering vigilance, in the shared rhythm of breath and hoof, in the silent communion with animals that cannot speak yet communicate so much through their posture, their sounds, and their scent. The isolation out here is profound. Long, empty stretches of land separate her from the bustling life of the village, and the immense quiet can press heavily upon the spirit. Conversations are limited to whispers with the wind, gentle murmurs to the animals, or the rich internal dialogue she carries within herself. Each day, she learns the lessons of patience, resilience, and the difficult art of being fully present. This loneliness shapes her character just as much as the physical labor itself. It teaches her discretion, endurance, and the unspoken understanding that her absence from the village is both a necessary sacrifice and an honorable one. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. This distance she endures is not merely physical. It is deeply emotional. She misses the bright laughter of children playing, the gentle guidance of the elders, and the beautiful evening songs shared under the village's ancient baobab tree. Yet, her work requires that she keep these longings in quiet reserve. A distracted mind could allow a calf to stray into danger, a bull to charge unexpectedly, or a predator to approach unseen. Her spirit becomes disciplined, finely attuned to the subtle rhythms of the earth, the changing temperature of the day, and the silent signals of her herd. She learns to read the land as if it were a story, each detail holding a meaning only she can decipher. Even in this vast solitude, she is never truly alone. The presence of her ancestors is woven into the very fabric of the landscaping, the sound of the wind sighing through the acacia trees, the soft rustle of dry grass, the distant, haunting cry of a jackal. Each sound is observed and interpreted, forming a subtle, ongoing dialogue between human, land, and spirit. Her footsteps trace invisible lines of protection and guidance across the earth, as if the land itself whispers words of encouragement to her. In this way, she becomes a vessel of continuity, bridging generations through her tireless labor, her keen observation, and her profound care. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Her day stretches long, and a deep fatigue begins to press against her limbs. Yet her commitment remains unwavering. a steady flame in the face of exhaustion. Meals are sparse, often just a simple porridge. Water is carefully rationed, a precious commodity in this dry land. Rest is brief and always alert. Even the briefest pauses are measured, taken with one eye on the herd, one on the horizon, and one on the unbroken chain of duty that spans time and family. The weight of her responsibility is constant, but it is a sacred weight. It feels as if each step she takes honors the mothers and grandmothers before her who walked these same lands, tending cattle, guarding life, and shaping their world silently and deliberately, one day at a time. Through this incredible endurance, she teaches the younger women and girls of her village by powerful example. The next generation learns not through lectures or instruction alone, but by witnessing her patience, her discipline, and the quiet dignity of her labor performed under a relentless sun. Her daily absence from the village becomes a living lesson in sacrifice, devotion, and the intricate, delicate balance between personal longing and communal necessity. Every single day, she embodies the truth that this labor is more than just work. It is a form of spiritual service, a sacred offering to the land, to the animals, and to the lineage she so proudly represents. As the afternoon shadows grow longer, she begins the careful, methodical process of leading the herd back home. Each animal is accounted for, each path retraced with care. She returns to the village not only bearing the living, breathing herd, but also the invisible record of a day performed with integrity, endurance, and honor. The vast distance between her and her home has been filled with meaningful action, with focused observation, and with quiet reflection, silent testament to both the privilege and the burden of her essential role. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. As the sun finally dips toward the horizon, painting the sky in fiery colors, she looks back over the plains she has traversed. The cattle are safe, the day's work is complete, and her spirit, though wearied, remains intact and whole. She has carried her duty across countless hours and miles, holding in her body and her mind the immense weight of tradition, the timeless lessons of her ancestors, and the precious continuity of life itself. In this endurance, in this powerful presence, the Himba herding woman demonstrates the profound rhythm of survival, a graceful dance of care, attention, and sacrifice that sustains both human and animal, both the village and the land. The day concludes not in a loud moment of triumph, but in a deep, quiet satisfaction. Her service is its own reward, its own story, and its own prayer. In each step, each glance, each unspoken gesture, she fulfills a role that is written not in books or on paper, but in blood, dust, and breath. Her life is a powerful testimony to the sacred labor that shapes culture, community, and the enduring, unbreakable bond between humanity and the natural world. As the first light of morning spills across the Himba village, it bathes the huts in a golden glow, kissing the red dust that carpets the ground. Here, in this gentle light, the women gather. Their first task of the day is a sacred one, preparing odjais, the iconic red ochre paste that transforms their skin into both a shield and a canvas. This isn't just any earth. Each pinch is carried from ancestral grounds, a direct link to the generations that came before. It's then carefully mixed with butterfat, a gift from their life-sustaining cattle, and scented with aromatic resins gathered from local commiphora trees. The tactile rhythm of kneading this paste is profound. It connects hand to land, body to spirit, and the present moment to a deep, resonant past. You can almost feel the history being worked into the mixture. The process itself is a ceremony, With every smear of red across their arms, shoulders, and intricately plaited hair, the women invoke protection. It's a practical shield against the harsh desert sun and biting insects, but its power extends beyond the physical. It's also believed to guard against malevolent spirits, a spiritual armor worn daily. But Ojai's is far more than just a protective coating. It is a rich and complex language. The specific shade of red, the thickness of the application, and the patterns used to adorn the body all convey meaning. They communicate a woman's age, her marital status, and her social identity within the community. In this quiet morning ritual, mothers guide their daughters, whispering the subtle codes of color, consistency, and style. It's as if they are narrating an ancient story, not with words, but through touch and pigment. Let us pause for a moment. Imagine the scene. A fire crackles gently nearby, the only sound breaking the stillness as the cool night air gives way to the warmth of the day. Ochre dust rises in soft, reddish spirals as hands move with a practiced, almost hypnotic grace. The mixture is kneaded and kneaded over and over until it becomes smooth, supple, and fragrant. The earthy scent of the resin mingles with the dry, arid wind sweeping across the plains. As they work, the women often hum quietly. The tune, a simple, soothing rhythm of continuity that stretches back through centuries. Each stroke of the hand, each coil of a braid, and each smear of the paste is a conversation with their ancestors. It is a message passed down in red that silently declares, "I am here, I endure, I belong." The paste also plays a crucial role in adorning their hair. Braids are formed with meticulous, loving care. They are not just hairstyles, they are sculptures of identity. Intricate patterns can mark significant life stages, such as a girl's transition into puberty, her readiness for marriage, or her established standing within the community. As the women move through the village, their red-coated strands glint under the African sun, carrying a language understood by everyone. The act of adorning hair is an exercise in patience, discipline, and social cohesion. It's a shared activity that strengthens bonds. Women learn to read one another's adornments as easily as we might read a book, interpreting subtle shifts in style as signals of a life stage, a specific intention, or an upcoming celebration. Let us pause for a moment. Listen to the fire crackle gently as the night's breath fades completely, replaced by the full presence of the morning. Beyond personal identity, Ojais represents a profound connection to the earth itself. The clay is sacred soil, the very foundation of their world. The butterfat is a precious gift from the cows that sustain their lives, a symbol of wealth and well-being. As the women's hands shape and smear the paste, they are weaving together the cycles of animal, earth, and human labor into a single, beautiful tapestry. Every application is an affirmation of their place in the world, a recognition that the land provides. The herd sustains, and the woman maintains the balance of it all through her care, her rituals, and her skill. Children watch these rituals from a young age, their eyes wide with curiosity. They sit silently, often imitating the gestures with their own smaller pieces of clay, learning through observation and play. Mothers and grandmothers correct, guide, and praise them with soft, encouraging laughter. Through this daily hands-on practice, a vast amount of cultural knowledge flows seamlessly across generations. Girls absorb vital lessons about hygiene, beauty, protection, and spirituality, all wrapped within this single, tactile experience. The rhythm of the hands kneading the ochre becomes the rhythm of life itself, mirrored in the slow, steady movement of cattle, the reliable rising of the sun, and the constant wind sweeping across the plains. Let us pause for a moment. The fire now a bed of glowing embers as the day's activities begin in earnest. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the red paste begins to dry, forming a protective, fragrant layer on skin and hair. It's a visual marker of identity, a signal of belonging, and a fortification of the body against the harsh elements of their environment. The act of preparation and adornment, which started as a practical task, transforms into a form of meditation. It creates a space for quiet reflection, for storytelling, and for a silent dialogue with the ancestors who walked this land before them. Every woman's face becomes a living map of her heritage, and every braid becomes a chapter in their shared communal memory. The language of this red earth extends far beyond the personal. Festivals, ceremonies, and important community gatherings are opportunities to display skill, creativity, and connection. The community reads these intricate patterns, silently understanding messages of union, endurance, and cultural continuity. The Himba woman's labor in the morning light is therefore both deeply intimate and powerfully public, both private and shared. It is a living bridge connecting the self, the family, and the culture, a tradition that endures with incredible resilience. Despite the harshness of the climate and the inevitable passage of time, through touch, color, and ritual, the Himba woman enacts a daily covenant with her people and her land. The red paste is a language without words, yet its message is clear and universal. It speaks of care, of resilience, of identity, and of a sacred, unbreakable connection. In every single smear of ochre, the body becomes a sacred text, and the landscape itself becomes a living page upon which their culture is written and read anew each day. As the sun climbs higher over the vast Namibian plains, its light casts long, stretching shadows across the Himba village. Here, in the quiet morning air, a timeless ritual unfolds. Women gather in small, intimate clusters, their skilled fingers weaving intricate braids into the hair of girls and young women. This isn't just about style. It's a language spoken without words. Each braid carries profound meaning. Its length, its thickness, and the specific pattern it forms can signal a person's age, their marital status, the clan they belong to, or even a recent accomplishment. The hair becomes a living, breathing map of identity, a silent story that can be read and understood by elders, peers, and even visitors who know the signs. Braiding is far more than a decorative art. It is a ritual, a form of meditation, and a profound lesson in patience. You can see the gentle, deliberate gestures as mothers and grandmothers guide the hands of the younger generation. A braid might be crafted to spiral, mimicking the elegant curve of a cattle's horns, a symbol of wealth and life itself. Another might stretch in perfect, linear symmetry, reflecting a clan's ancestral lineage, a thread connecting them back through time. Each twist, each coil, is another thread in the intricate story of both the individual and their entire community. As their fingers work, the women often hum softly, sometimes breaking into short, melodic songs. These aren't just tunes. They are vessels carrying wisdom, passed from one generation to the next in the quiet rhythm of daily life. Let us pause for a moment. Listen to the fire crackle gently as the night breathes around us. These stunning hairstyles are further enriched by carefully chosen jewelry. Beads, shells, and small metal ornaments are threaded into the braids, each piece adding another layer of meaning. They signify social standing, age, or important rites of passage. Nothing is accidental. Every piece is deliberately placed, with colors and materials chosen for their deep symbolism. The rhythm of placing a bead into a braid seems to mirror the very pulse of the land itself. It echoes the steady cadence of daily labor, the slow and deliberate movement of cattle across the plains, and the whisper of the wind over the iconic red sands of the Namib. The act of adorning hair is also a performance of community values, a public display of shared beliefs. The eldest women observe the process, their experienced eyes watching every detail. They guide and correct, ensuring that each braid and every single adornment perfectly reflects cultural norms and spiritual meaning. Through this gentle tutelage, younger women learn to recognize and embody the patterns of respect, humility, and pride that are central to Himba life. These hairstyles, then, are not just personal expressions of beauty. They are powerful declarations of belonging, of discipline, and of the unbroken continuity of their culture. Let us pause for a moment. Listen to the fire crackle gently as the night breathes round us. As a person moves through the stages of life, their hairstyle often changes to reflect their new status. When girls enter puberty, they might adopt a specific style of braids reserved for this important initiation, a visual marker of their transition toward womanhood. Married women, in turn, display elaborate coiffures that signal their domestic responsibility and the social wisdom they have gained. Special occasions like births, communal celebrations, and important ceremonies call for particularly intricate and symbolic styles. For these events, ochre and other decorative elements might be incorporated, turning the hair into a living canvas for ritual storytelling, a vibrant celebration of life and community. Beyond the symbolic, each braid also functions as a tool for practical survival in this harsh, beautiful environment. On a typical workday, hair might be pulled close to the scalp and adorned minimally. This practical style helps keep the pervasive dust and searing heat at bay, allowing for more comfortable and efficient work. These protective styles are also crucial during long treks with the cattle, shielding the wearer from the elements and helping them preserve precious energy and focus. The balance between the aesthetic, the symbolic, and the functional is incredibly delicate. Mastering this balance requires immense patience and keen observation, skills that are instilled from a very young age. Let us pause for a moment. Listen to the fire crackle gently as the night breathes around us. Through the intricate combination of jewelry, beads, shells, and braids, a Himba woman communicates with her ancestors, her community, and the world. Every single adornment embodies respect, lineage, and vigilance. Her body becomes a living ledger of tradition, an encyclopedia of status, identity, and the survival strategies honed over countless generations. Young girls learn early on that each twist of hair and each carefully placed bead is part of a larger conversation. It's a bridge connecting them across generations, and a declaration of their unique place in a long, unbroken continuum of resilience. This communal act of hairstyling does more than create beauty. It powerfully strengthens social bonds. As their fingers work tirelessly, women share stories, news, and laughter. They pass down not just technical skill, but the wisdom of their ancestors. In these moments, you'll hear gentle rebukes, quiet affirmations, and shared jokes accompanying every coil and twist. Through these intimate interactions, children internalize the fundamental rhythms of their society, the delicate balance between labor and beauty, between submission to tradition and personal expression, between duty and joy. The village itself becomes a classroom, the red dust a parchment upon which lessons are written, and the brilliant sunlight a silent witness to this living, breathing tradition. By the time the morning's work is done, the entire village feels transformed. Every woman's hair tells a unique story. Every bead whispers of a lineage stretching back through time. and every braid radiates the profound dignity of care and ritual. These small, deliberate gestures of adornment ripple out across the entire community, a constant and beautiful reminder that, for the Himba, survival, identity, and culture are inextricably intertwined, inseparable from the land they call home and the herding life it sustains. As the sun climbs to its highest point, the Himba village doesn't quiet down. It comes alive with a steady, purposeful rhythm. The air thrums with the sounds of life, the lowing of cattle, the laughter of children, and the soft, focused movements of the women. Here, daily labor isn't just a chore. It's woven into the very fabric of social life. Women move with an inherited grace, their tasks flowing seamlessly from tending to the precious cattle to caring for their children. For a young Himba woman, marriage is not just a personal choice or a private union. It's a communal expectation, a rite of passage that solidifies her place within a complex network of responsibilities. From a young age, girls learn that their future role extends far beyond the confines of their own hut. They are taught that caring for the household, mentoring the younger girls who watch their every move, and participating in ancient ceremonies are just as vital as the demanding work of herding cattle under the vast, scorching Namibian sky. Every lesson, every task, prepares them for a life of purpose and connection. Let's talk about how these unions are formed. Courtship and marriage among the Himba are steeped in tradition, following protocols that have been passed down through countless generations. It's a process that involves entire families, not just two individuals. Negotiations for a dowry are a central part of this, reinforcing the social and economic ties that bind different households together. This dowry, often paid in the form of cattle, the ultimate measure of wealth and status, or perhaps intricate beads and other ceremonial goods, is a testament to the value placed on the bride and the new alliance being forged. Once the alliance is agreed upon, the young bride-to-be undergoes intensive training. She is meticulously instructed in both domestic duties and the art of herding. This ensures she is fully equipped to navigate the rhythms of daily life, from the practicalities of managing a homestead to the spiritual importance of maintaining cultural rituals. For the Himba, every action is imbued with meaning. The simple act of milking a cow is not just about sustenance. It's a connection to the herd that sustains them. The daily ritual of preparing otkais, the red ochre paste, is not just about beauty. It's a sacred practice that signifies cultural identity and belonging. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Once a woman is married, her world expands, and so do her responsibilities. She becomes a central pillar of her new family, skillfully balancing the care of her children with the duty of assisting the elders who hold the community's wisdom. She maintains the homestead, ensuring it remains a place of order and comfort, all while continuing her essential herding duties. These are not easy tasks. They demand incredible skill, physical stamina, and an unwavering focus from sunrise to sunset. Yet, you will not often see this labor performed with resentment. Instead, it is done with a quiet pride, a deep understanding of its importance. Often, the work is accompanied by songs that drift across the landscapes, songs of ancestors, songs of the land, songs of hope. Sometimes, only whispered prayers are audible, a personal communion with the spiritual forces that guide them. Each day is a reinforcement of her identity, not just as an individual, but as a vital conduit of her family's lineage, her community's strength, and the collective wisdom of her people. In Himba society, personal labor and social obligations are two sides of the same coin. They are completely inseparable. When the sun is at its hottest, you might find a group of women gathered in the precious shade of an acacia tree. Their hands are never idle. They might be weaving intricate baskets, their fingers moving with practiced speed, or mending garments worn from work in the thorny bush. But this is more than just a work session. It's a classroom, a community forum, and a therapy session all in one. As they work, they share stories, tales of ancestors, legends of the land, and the simple news of the day. They are actively instructing the next generation. The young girls listening intently are learning more than just how to weave. They are absorbing the songs, the rituals, and the vast store of practical knowledge needed to survive and thrive in this environment. Every task, no matter how mundane it might seem, becomes a profound lesson in patience, in the importance of communal responsibility, and in the deep respect required for the cycles of the land, the cattle, and their society. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Life is marked by ceremonies, powerful rituals that signify transitions and reinforce the social bonds that hold the community together. These are not events that happen in isolation. They require the full participation of the community, with women often at the helm. Whether it's a ceremony for girls entering puberty, marking their transition to womanhood, or a joyful celebration for a couple getting married, or a solemn occasion honoring the milestones of the elders, it is the women who often guide, instruct, and embody the cultural memory of the tribe. They are the keepers of the ceremonial flame. They know the right songs to sing, the correct procedures to follow, the sacred meanings behind every gesture. For a Himba woman, marriage isn't the final chapter of her story. It's a continuous thread in a much larger tapestry, a thread that links past generations to future ones, that weaves together responsibilities, and that ultimately ensures the survival of the Himba way of life against the pressures of the modern world, even in the face of what can only be described as physical exhaustion. There is a deep well of joy and reflection within these women. Their laughter is a powerful sound, a sound that resonates across the red dust and the dry grasses of the plains. It's a sound that intertwines with the constant, gentle murmurs of the cattle and the steady, humming rhythm of village life. It's a testament to their incredible resilience and spirit. This is a life where social cohesion, spiritual observance, and hard labor are not separate compartments. They are inseparable strands, woven together to create a beautiful and incredibly strong tapestry of identity. It is this very interconnectedness that gives them their strength, that allows them to find joy in the midst of hardship, and to carry the weight of their responsibilities with such grace and dignity. Their existence is a powerful statement of resilience, a living, breathing work of art. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. This delicate, yet powerful, balance of labor, marriage, and social duty instills in every Himba woman a profound and unshakable understanding of her place in the world. She is not defined by a single role. She becomes both a caretaker and a teacher, a tireless worker and a revered ritualist. Her actions ripple outwards, echoing across the homesteads she maintains and the herds she protects. She is the glue that holds everything together. Through this continuous, daily practice of her duties, the ancient traditions of her people persist. They are not preserved in dusty books or museum displays. They are preserved in motion, in the rhythm of her work. They are preserved in the songs she sings to her children, and in the careful, intricate weaving of her daily life. She is a living library, a walking embodiment of her culture, ensuring that the Himba way of life continues to beat strong. By the time the day draws to a close and the sky is painted in shades of orange and purple, a woman's work is still not truly done. But every step she has taken across the red soil, every tender gesture she has made toward her children, and every careful decision she has made in managing the herds has affirmed her central role. She is both the custodian of her community's past and the creator of its future. In her capable hands, the seemingly separate worlds of labor, ritual, and love converge into a single, powerful force. It is this force that sustains not just her own household, but the very lifeblood of Himba society itself. She is the heart of her people, and in her daily actions, she ensures that this heart continues to beat, strong and true, for generations to come. Under the vast, open skies of northern Namibia, a sacred dialogue unfolds. Here, the exchange of bride wealth is far more than a simple transaction. It is a profound weaving of alliances, a ritual that strengthens the very fabric of the community. Young women, on the cusp of adulthood, watch with attentive eyes as their elders negotiate. Cattle, beads, and ceremonial goods pass from one family to another, each item steeped in ancestral meaning. This is a moment of deep solemnity, conducted with meticulous care and a keen awareness of the spiritual balance that must be maintained. The ceremony itself begins not with words between the living, but with offerings to the ancestors. Women, their hands coated in the rich red ochre of Otiais, extend them in prayer, whispering to the spirits who watch over and bless the impending union. It's a beautiful blend of the private and the public, bridging the unseen world of the ancestors with the tangible community of the living. Every single element of the exchange is rich with symbolism. The cattle represent prosperity and the sustenance of life. The intricate beads signify connection and the continuity of the lineage. And the ceremonial gifts reflect the deep respect and duty that bind families together. The fire crackles, a gentle, rhythmic sound against the quiet breath of the approaching night. The negotiations are a delicate dance of material and symbolic discussion. Elders, their voices carrying the weight of generations, recall shared histories. They speak of previous unions, of conflicts resolved, and of alliances that have stood the test of time. The young men and women listen in respectful silence, absorbing invaluable lessons in patience, in diplomacy, and in the sheer power of words spoken with intention and sincerity. They learn that a bride's worth is measured not just in the gifts exchanged, but in her character, her ability to foster harmony, and her commitment to honoring the family lines she will soon connect. Once the terms are agreed upon, a new energy fills the homestead. The women of both households take the lead, preparing a grand ceremonial feast. Food is cooked over open fires, the air filled with the aromatic scent of indigenous herbs. As they work, songs rise into the air, songs that recount the great deeds of ancestors and praise the virtues expected of the new bride. She herself may be adorned in symbolic ornaments, each piece carefully placed to signify her readiness, her transition from her family of birth to the family of her husband. The fire crackles gently, its embers glowing as the night deepens around us. For the bride, this period is a time of quiet reflection and intimate guidance. The older women of her clan gather around her, their voices soft but clear as they instruct her in the responsibilities that lie ahead. They teach her how to tend the cattle, a cornerstone of Himba life. They show her how to weave the social bonds that hold the community together, how to guide children with a firm but loving hand, and how to participate in the sacred rituals that honor the ancestors. These lessons are delivered with a gentle grace, helping the young woman understand that marriage is not an endpoint, but a continuum of service, honor, and deep societal interconnection. Through this entire process, the community bears witness to the weaving of new bonds. A marriage here is never solely a private affair between two individuals. It is a powerful affirmation of cultural continuity, a public assertion of shared values, and a ritual act that reinforces the cohesion of the entire clan. Every single person presents the elders negotiating, the families offering support, and the bride herself plays a crucial role. A performance that ensures the stability and prosperity of their people for generations to come. The fire crackles, a steady, comforting sound in the vast silence of the Namibian night. The ceremonial exchange leaves an indelible mark on the bride. She now carries the weight and the honor of both her natal and her marital families. Her every action, her attentiveness to protocol and tradition, becomes a reflection of her respect for the lineage, for the ancestors, and for the expectations of her new household. In her careful observance of these customs, the rhythms of the past and the present converge, creating a living bridge for future generations to cross. She embodies the continuity of her culture. As the ceremony draws to a close, a shared meal signals the end of the ritual day. The atmosphere is one of quiet reflection and mutual respect. The bride has been formally welcomed, the alliances between the families have been reaffirmed, and the sacred threads of the community have been preserved and strengthened. Every word spoken, every gift given, and every prayer offered has served to reinforce the invisible bonds that hold the Himba way of life together. It is a beautiful testament to ensuring that labor and love, duty and devotion continue to flow in perfect harmony through the heart of the community. Beneath the wide, sun-baked skies of northern Namibia, the homestead becomes a sanctuary, and the Himba woman is its steadfast hearthkeeper. From the very first light that pierces the dawn, she orchestrates the intricate rhythms of daily life. Her day begins with the fire, the heart of the home. She tends to its embers, preparing meals that will nourish her family. Her movements a practiced dance passed down through generations. Her hands, coated in the sacred red ochre paste known as opjais, move with a practiced precision, weaving together sustenance, comfort, and instruction for all who depend on her. This is more than just cooking. It's a living classroom. Every meal prepared over the open flames is a lesson in community and continuity. While grinding millet between two stones or shaping porridge into perfect mounds, the Himba woman teaches her children. Her voice rises and falls like the wind sweeping across the arid plains, carrying the songs of the ancestors, the epic stories of past heroism, and the solemn responsibilities that accompany adulthood. Through these moments, she instills a deep reverence for the land that sustains them, a profound respect for family bonds, and an unshakable pride in their unique cultural identity. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Childcare here is not a separate activity, but is seamlessly interwoven with the fabric of labor. From dawn until dusk, the Himba woman balances the needs of all her children. She might be feeding an infant nestled in a sling against her body, while simultaneously guiding a toddler's small hands, and all the while ensuring her older children are diligently assisting with their assigned daily tasks. These acts are imbued with a powerful combination of tenderness, discipline, and instruction. Each gesture, each word, reinforces societal roles and fosters personal growth. Storytelling becomes a sacred tool in her hands, a vessel for carrying history, morality, and essential survival skills from one generation to the next. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Even in what might seem like moments of solitude, her work resonates with a deep spiritual significance. The hearth she tends is both literal and symbolic. It is the center of physical life, providing warmth and food. But it is also the center of spiritual life, representing the unseen but ever-felt presence of the ancestors. As she tends the fires that ward off the cool desert night or meticulously repairs the thatched roofs of their traditional huts, the Himba woman is actively maintaining harmony within the homestead. She ensures that each member of her family, young and old, understands their place, their purpose, and their duty within the larger community. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The interplay between the relentless demands of labor and the simple joys of life is subtle, yet incredibly profound. The chores are unending, fetching water from distant sources, preparing animal hides for clothing and shelter, maintaining the livestock enclosures, yet this constant work is beautifully balanced by the unfiltered laughter of children echoing through the homestead, the steady rhythm of communal songs, and the shared stories that fill the evening air. Each day becomes a rich and vibrant tapestry where work and play, instruction and entertainment are woven seamlessly together into a single, cohesive whole. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Her vital role extends far beyond the boundaries of her immediate homestead. Women meet at communal wells or designated gathering places, transforming these everyday locations into hubs of connection and knowledge. Here, they exchange vital information, advising one another on herbal remedies passed down through countless mothers and grandmothers, discussing the proper execution of rituals, and offering marital guidance. It is through these powerful networks that their culture is not just preserved but actively strengthened. Wisdom flows between generations, solidifying the social fabric that binds the entire Himba community together. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Even in her most demanding and physically taxing tasks, the hearthkeeper's presence embodies patience, resilience, and the very essence of Himba womanhood. She is a guide, a nurturer, and a teacher, all in one. Her every action, whether it is a softly whispered story told under the stars or a measured, deliberate gesture showing a child the right way to perform a task, serves a greater purpose. Each movement strengthens the lineage, embeds cultural memory deep within the hearts of the young, and tenderly nurtures the next generation of custodians who will, in their time, keep the fires of the Himba culture burning brightly. As the sun arcs over the red Namibian sands, the Himba homestead hums with unseen life. Faith is woven into every corner, every action, every breath. Sacred space is small altars of clay, shells, and ochre stand quietly, witnesses to the daily prayers whispered by women whose lives bridge the earthly and spiritual worlds. These offerings, perhaps a handful of millet, a gourd of fresh water, or small, personal charms, are more than just gestures. They are the threads that connect the living to the ancestors. A constant reminder that survival, prosperity, and harmony are not won by toil alone, but are intertwined with deep reverence. In these quiet moments, as a woman places her offering on a simple clay altar outside her hut, her skin glowing with ochre, her traditional beads glinting in the morning sun, we see a profound connection being renewed. It is a dialogue with the past that shapes the present and secures the future. This is not a religion confined to grand temples or specific days of the week. It is a faith lived in the dust, under the vast sky, in the rhythm of every single day. The morning begins not with an alarm clock, but with soft incantations. The hearthkeeper, the woman at the heart of the home, greets the day not only by tending the sacred fire and preparing food, but by acknowledging the spirits of her forebears. Her first words are prayers, whispered into the cool desert air. Each prayer is a petition for protection against predators that roam the plains, for the fertility of both her family and her livestock, for abundant milk from the cows, and for the strength to face the day's demanding labor. These rituals are intensely personal, yet they are also communal. The presence of children, watching and listening from the doorway of the hut, ensures that this spiritual knowledge is not taught in a formal lesson, but absorbed naturally. It passes from one generation to the next as seamlessly as a story told around the fire. The children learn that the fire is not just for warmth, but is a gateway to the ancestors. They learn that every chore has a spiritual dimension, that every action can be an act of prayer. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Fertility, the continuation of life itself, is honored through both tangible practice and potent symbolism. The rich, red ochre paste, known as otkais, which is so iconic of the Himba people, is far more than simple decoration. It is a sacred application that carries profound meanings of life, blood, and the earth. It is a shield, offering protection from the harsh sun, but it is also a symbol of continuity, connecting the individual to the long line of ancestors who came before. A woman's adornments are a visual language, a story told without words. The intricate braiding of her hair, mixed with otjais and extensions, the specific placement of handcrafted beads, and the weight of her metal anklets all signal her journey through life. They announce her maturity, her marital status, and her spiritual alignment with ancestral guidance. Nothing is accidental. Each step is deliberate, each ritual infused with the unshakable belief that life, labor, and lineage are sacred threads held in the hands of the divine. As women gather to braid each other's hair, with children observing intently and cattle grazing peacefully in the background, we witness a living tradition, a beautiful tableau of cultural resilience under the vast, arid plains. Daily life and ceremony are not separate spheres. They are completely intertwined. As a Himba woman walks miles to fetch water from a distant well or expertly guides her family's cattle to precious pasture, she maintains a constant, mindful awareness of her ancestral presence. Her work is a form of moving meditation, an offering left at a riverbank, a whispered invocation carried on the wind, or a soft song sung while herding the cows. These are all ways she ensures that every act, no matter how mundane, honors those who came before. This constant dialogue with the spirit world is what sustains harmony within the family. It reinforces the social bonds that are so crucial for survival in this challenging environment. It is the invisible glue that holds the community together and preserves the spiritual foundations of the Himba people. By acknowledging the ancestors in every task, she affirms that she is not alone, that she is part of a continuum, supported by generations of wisdom and strength. This is not about fear, but about a relationship built on respect and reciprocity. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. As dusk settles over the homestead, painting the sky in fiery shades of orange and red, the land becomes a theater of devotion. The energy shifts from the labor of the day to the quiet contemplation of the evening. Smoke from small, sacred fires spirals towards the heavens, carrying the family's prayers skyward. In the fading light, children learn the ancient chants, their small voices joining the deeper tones of the adults. They mimic the gestures of prayer and observe closely how the adults maintain the delicate balance between daily labor and sacred duty. Fertility rituals, blessings for the herd, and homage to the ancestors are not isolated events saved for special occasions. They are woven into the fabric of every evening. They are part of putting the children to bed, of sharing the evening meal, of securing the kraal for the night. As a woman performs her evening prayer at the clay hearth, with her children kneeling quietly nearby, the entire scene is bathed in the red glow of the sunset. It is a powerful image of faith being passed on, a testament to the integration of the sacred into every movement, every task, and every word spoken within the home. Through these daily and nightly practices, the Himba woman becomes the anchor of her family and her culture. She ensures continuity. She embodies the incredible resilience of a people who have thrived in one of the world's most unforgiving landscapes. She maintains the sacred lines of communication with those who watch from beyond the veil. Her devotion is not loud or ostentatious. It is quiet, consistent, and profound. It shapes life, labor, and legacy in ways that transcend the immediacy of the day. Her actions today are ripples that will reach into the hearts and minds of generations yet to come. She is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual, the past and the future. Her role is not simply one of drudgery. It is one of immense spiritual power and responsibility. In her hands, she holds the well-being of her family, the health of her livestock, and the continuation of her entire culture. It is a heavy burden, but one she carries with grace, strength, and an unshakable sense of purpose. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. In every whispered prayer at dawn, in each ceremonial preparation of Ogias, in every offering left by the river, the essence of Himba spiritual life is reaffirmed. It is through this unwavering faith, through this deep fidelity to ancestors, and through the mindful stewardship of these daily rites that the Himba woman sustains her household and her people. Her work ensures that sacred knowledge endures, that life flourishes against all odds, and that every day remains perfectly aligned with the timeless rhythms of the desert and the spirits who guide it. Her life is a testament to the idea that the most profound spirituality is not found in escaping the world, but in fully inhabiting it, in finding the sacred in the soil, the water, the fire, and the family. As dawn spills its light across the arid plains of northern Namibia, the Himba woman steps into a world that is both ancient and rapidly shifting. The rhythms of her ancestors, the daily herding, the careful tending of cattle, the rituals of body and hearth now intersect with the distant sounds of motor engines, satellite signals, and tourists' cameras. She moves with the same poise, the same innate awareness, yet every footstep carries the profound tension between continuity and adaptation. Her silhouette, clad in traditional attire, stands stark against a landscape that now includes not just acacia trees and dust, but small solar panels and modern village structures glinting in the distance. This is not a world frozen in time. It is a world in constant, delicate negotiation. The act of herding remains a sacred duty, a covenant between her people and the land that has sustained them for generations. However, the land itself is changing. Water scarcity, a consequence of shifting climate patterns, has introduced new and formidable trials. The paths her ancestors walked with confidence are now fraught with uncertainty. Rivers dry sooner than expected, forcing longer, more arduous journeys in search of sustenance for their precious cattle. Predators, too, have adapted to this changing landscape, their behavior less predictable, demanding a heightened sense of caution and foresight from those who guard the herds. As young girls learn this ancient craft, they absorb not just the practical skills of herding, but also profound lessons of survival. They are taught to read the land with an intimacy that seems almost mystical to an outsider. They learn to interpret the subtle shifts in the wind, the texture of the soil underfoot, and the behavior of the wild animals that share their world. These are lessons their mothers and grandmothers learned before them, a lineage of knowledge passed down through generations. Yet, woven into this timeless curriculum are new, modern pressures. The proximity of towns brings with it the lure of a different life, while market demands for livestock introduce economic considerations that were once foreign to their subsistence-based culture. Every decision is a complex calculation, balancing ancient wisdom with modern realities. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The flames dance, casting flickering shadows that seem to tell stories of their own, stories of resilience, of adaptation, and of the enduring spirit of the Himba people. In this quiet moment, we can almost hear the whispers of the ancestors, their voices carried on the cool desert breeze. Every action the Himba woman takes is measured, deliberate. She navigates the encroaching world of modernity, not with fear or resentment, but with a quiet, powerful resilience. She negotiates the demands of tourists who arrive with cameras, eager to capture a glimpse of her unique culture. She engages with anthropologists who come with questions, seeking to understand the intricate tapestry of her society. She interacts with local governance structures that impose new regulations on land use and community life. Through it all, she preserves the sacred rituals that lie at the heart of her identity. The morning prayers whispered to the rising sun, the offerings made to ancestral spirits, the ceremonial adornments that tell the story of her life, these remain untouched. Yet, she subtly shifts her daily routines to accommodate these external pressures, demonstrating an incredible capacity for adaptation without surrendering the core of who she is. It is in this delicate balance that her community finds its strength, its ability to bend without breaking. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. In the warmth of the flames, we find a space for reflection, a moment to appreciate the profound strength required to walk this fine line between two worlds. The scent of wood smoke fills the air, a timeless perfume that connects the present to a long and storied past. Beyond these tangible pressures, there is a quieter, more internal negotiation taking place, the negotiation of memory. The elders of the community serve as living libraries, their minds filled with the sacred rhythms that govern life. They remind the youth of the songs that have been sung for centuries, the gestures that carry deep symbolic meaning, and the practices that encode generations of accumulated knowledge. These are not presented as optional traditions to be observed or discarded at will. They are understood as a map for survival, a guide for spiritual continuity, and the very foundation of social cohesion. The modern world may beckon with its promises of convenience and material wealth, but the harsh, unforgiving rhythm of the desert insists on fidelity to the old ways. It is a powerful counterpoint to the siren song of progress, a constant reminder that some forms of knowledge cannot be found in books or on screens. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The darkness of the Namibian night is absolute, punctuated only by the brilliance of the stars and the glow of our small fire. It is in this profound stillness that the importance of community and shared memory becomes most apparent, a beacon of light in an often uncertain world. As the tendrils of the modern world reach further into the homesteads, through expanding markets and the establishment of formal schooling, the women of the community often find themselves serving as conduits between these two worlds. They bear the immense weight of maintaining ancient ceremonies while simultaneously teaching their children how to navigate new systems of economy and governance. They must be fluent in the language of both tradition and modernity. Every decision, no matter how small it may seem, is framed by this dual perspective. How to fetch water is not just a practical question. It is informed by ancestral knowledge of where the purest sources can be found, balanced against the new reality of shared wells or government-provided pumps. When to move the cattle is a decision guided by the seasons and the stars, but also influenced by market prices and veterinary schedules. How to perform a blessing is an act steeped in ancient ritual. Yet it is performed for children who will one day have to reconcile that spiritual world with a secular, globalized one. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes round us. We listen to the silence of the desert, a silence that is not empty but filled with the quiet hum of life, with the stories of the past, and with the hopes for the future. It is a silence that invites us to listen more deeply, to understand more fully. In these quiet yet profound daily acts, the Himba woman ensures that cultural survival is not a passive inheritance, but an active, deliberate, and strategic process. It is a constant act of creation and recreation. Rituals are performed not out of blind habit, but with a conscious intention to reinforce the values they represent. Stories are told not just for entertainment, but to transmit a moral and ethical framework to the next generation. The youth are trained not just in practical skills, but in the ability to recognize that preservation requires both a deep reverence for the past and a keen awareness of the present. In this way, every morning spent herding cattle across the dusty plains. Every careful application of ojais to skin and hair, every whispered prayer to the ancestors becomes an act of defiance, an affirmation of identity. It reinforces the continuity of community values in a world that often seeks to homogenize and erase them. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The embers glow like 1,000 tiny sunsets, each one a testament to the enduring warmth of culture and tradition. In this shared space, we are reminded that the most powerful forces in the world are often the most quiet, the most steadfast. And so, as the tourists depart their cars, kicking up clouds of dust that momentarily obscure the setting sun, and as the other influences of the modern world recede with the daylight, the lessons of the Himba woman's life linger in the cool night air. Her resilience is not a grand, dramatic gesture, but a quiet, daily practice. It embodies the delicate, ongoing balance between adaptation and tradition. A negotiation that ensures her culture not only survives, but thrives. Every action she takes, physical, spiritual, and social, is a powerful affirmation that the rhythms, the knowledge, and the sacred practices of her community remain vibrantly alive beneath the vast star-strewn Namibian sky. Her life is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to find harmony in a world of contrasts, to build a future that honors the past. The sun bakes the earth, and winding paths of reddish dust connect the homesteads. As the Himba woman walks, she feels the curious eyes that follow her. They belong to visitors, travelers who have journeyed far, carrying cameras, sketchbooks, and a torrent of questions. They hope to capture a fragment of her world, a culture so intimate, so vibrant, it seems to breathe with the land itself. She greets them with a gentle grace, yet her every movement remains anchored in the rhythms of her ancestors. With each greeting, each demonstration of a timeless craft, she practices a quiet diplomacy. In this moment, she is both a teacher and a guardian, carefully preserving what is sacred while engaging with a world that lies beyond the familiar horizon of her village. Tourism, for the Himba, is a river with two currents. One brings opportunity, the other peril. The craft markets that spring up at the edge of the village offer a path to financial support, a way to provide for her family in a changing economy. The exchange of knowledge can build bridges of understanding between worlds. Yet, this river can also erode the very foundations of authenticity if its flow is left unchecked. It is a delicate terrain, and the Himba woman negotiates it with practiced skill. She consciously chooses which rituals to share, which stories to tell, and which must remain veiled, kept sacred for the heart of the community. Her resilience shines in these decisions. She carries the profound knowledge that survival is not merely a physical act. It is, above all, a cultural one. Let us pause for a moment. Listen. The fire crackles gently, and the vast, cool night breathes around us, carrying whispers of ancient times. In every demonstration she offers, her identity and that of her community are reaffirmed. Watch as she braids a young girl's hair, each twist and parting a symbolic language telling a story of age, status, and clan. Observe the reverent care with which she mixes and applies the Otjai's paste mixture of ochre, butterfat, and herbs that protects her skin from the harsh sun and connects her to the rich, red earth. Listen to the ancestral songs she sings, their melodies carrying the weight of generations. The tourists may capture the image, they may record the sound, but the deeper meaning, the true understanding, remains with those initiated into these traditions. It is carried forward not in photographs, but in whispered lessons shared between mother and daughter, in stories told around the evening fire under a sky bursting with stars. Resilience, for the Himba, is not simply a defensive posture. It is an act of creation. Community celebrations, once held only for the village, are now thoughtfully adapted to welcome visitors while retaining their ceremonial integrity. Festivals, dances, and communal meals become powerful opportunities to reinforce social cohesion. They are living classrooms, teaching both the curious outsider and the village youth the profound significance behind each gesture, each note of a song, each offering made to the ancestors. The Himba woman, as a custodian of these traditions, ensures that the core meaning is never diluted, that the spirit of the ceremony remains pure, even as its audience grows. Let us pause for a moment. Feel the warmth of the flames. The fire crackles gently, a steady heartbeat as the night breathes around us. This delicate balance extends into the fabric of daily life. The young girls in the village still learn the ancient skills, how to herd the cattle, the lifeblood of their people, the domestic duties that sustain the homestead, and the ritual practices that connect them to their spiritual world. But now they also learn to navigate the complexities of tourist interactions and the emerging market economies. The older women, the matriarchs, mentor them in the art of discretion. They teach them what to reveal and what to shield, how to maintain their dignity and grace while engaging with a world that is changing at a dizzying pace. In their hands, knowledge is not a static relic. It becomes a living, adaptable tool, applied with wisdom and profound care. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles, a gentle, rhythmic sound as the deep night breathes its cool air around us, a silent witness to this endurance. In this constant interplay between tradition and modernity, the Himba woman demonstrates an enduring truth. Resilience is not passive. It is active, it is intentional, and it is deeply communal. It is a choice made every single day, through careful negotiation with the outside world, through dedicated mentorship of the next generation, and through the steadfast practice of ceremony, her people maintain a powerful continuity. The village is transformed. It is both a school and a sanctuary, a place where their culture is not just remembered, but actively practiced, fiercely defended, and celebrated with an unwavering grace that commands respect. The lessons the Himba offer are subtle, yet incredibly profound. A visitor might see the striking visual elements, the rich, red ochre on the skin, the intricate braids of hair adorned with leather and shells, the elegant, fluid grace of movement. But the true story of their endurance lies in the invisible threads that hold their society together. It is in the stories passed down through generations, the values that guide their interactions, and the ethics woven into every single act of daily life. Through her tireless labor, her wisdom, and her guidance, the Himba woman ensures that these threads remain unbroken. She strengthens them, preparing them to anchor future generations in a world that will, inevitably, always continue to shift and change. Her legacy is not just survival, but the thriving continuation of a beautiful and resilient people. As the sun lowers over Namibia's northern plains, a Himba woman reflects on the generations before her and those yet to come. Here, legacy isn't something cold and etched in stone. It's a living, breathing force. Each morning's heard moving across the landscape, each intricate strand of braided, ochre-reddened hair, each pinch of pigment applied with reverence, it's all part of an unbroken chain, linking the past, the present, and the future. Legacy is breathed into the dry, warm air. It's woven into the melodies of ancient songs, and carried on the broad backs of the cattle that graze patiently under her watchful eyes. This landscape is more than just scenery. It's a classroom, a library, and a cathedral, all in one. Teaching the youth is considered sacred work. From a young age, girls and boys learn the intimate language of the land. They are taught to read the subtle signs that lead to hidden waterholes, to anticipate the migrations of wildlife, and to honor the powerful, unyielding rhythms of the seasons. Their education is deeply practical, focused on the skills needed for survival in this often harsh environment. But it goes far beyond that. They are also initiated into the moral and spiritual codes that define what it means to be Himba. As twilight settles and the cooking fires are lit, another kind of learning begins. This is the time for storytelling. Gathered close, the children listen, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. They hear epic tales of their ancestors' resilience, learning how those who came before them navigated droughts, conflicts, and challenges. They discover the origins of sacred rituals, understanding the deep meaning behind each gesture and chant. They absorb the profound lessons embedded in the land itself, lessons about respect, patience, and interconnectedness. In these moments, the Himba woman is both guardian and narrator, a conduit of history, ensuring that this vital knowledge is passed down with clarity, care, and absolute integrity. She is planting seeds of identity that will one day blossom into the next generation of keepers of the culture. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Heritage for the Himba is preserved, not merely in memory, but in daily practice. It's an active, participatory inheritance. Rituals of cleansing with sacred smoke, offerings made to honor the ancestors, and the careful, daily application of Odgis, the iconic red ochre paste connect, the living with the unseen spiritual world. These are not empty gestures. Each act performed in the village today mirrors the deeds of women who lived and breathed on this same land centuries before. By engaging in these timeless practices, the Himba woman becomes a living bridge, a vessel through which culture flows, vibrant and uninterrupted, from one generation to the next. She embodies the continuity she works so hard to protect. Her hands, stained red from the earth, perform the same tasks her grandmother's hands performed. The songs she hums while grinding maize are the same melodies that echoed through this valley 100 years ago. This isn't about resisting change. It's about holding fast to an identity that provides strength, meaning, and a profound sense of belonging. The spiritual health of the community is tied to these rituals. They are the anchors that hold the people steady in a world that is constantly shifting around them. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Yet, continuity requires adaptability. The modern world has arrived at the edges of Himba territory, bringing with it new opportunities and new challenges. Encounters with bustling markets, curious tourists, and formal education systems have introduced tools and ideas that were unknown to previous generations. The Himba woman navigates these changes with incredible care and wisdom. She is not opposed to progress, but she is a discerning gatekeeper. She carefully assesses what new elements might enhance life without eroding its core. A metal pot might be a welcome convenience, but it will never replace the ceremonial significance of a handcrafted clay vessel. This delicate negotiation is a constant balancing act. She ensures that innovation does not lead to erasure, that convenience does not supplant sacred ceremony, and that a natural curiosity about the outside world does not override deeply held spiritual practices. Perhaps a child learns to read and write in a government school, but at home they still learn to read the tracks of an antelope and to recite the lineage of their clan. This selective integration is a testament to the resilience of the culture, a way of bending without breaking, ensuring that the essence of the Himba way of life remains untouched and powerful. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. At the heart of this enduring legacy is the strength of the community. In Himba society, knowledge is not a private possession. It is a shared resource, a collective treasure. This communal approach is central to their survival and cultural preservation. The elders, with their lifetimes of experience, counsel the young, offering guidance on everything from spiritual matters to practical disputes. Women mentor the girls, passing down the intricate knowledge of herbal remedies, childcare, and the complex art of preparing odd. Men train the boys in the demanding work of herding and protecting the precious cattle. Everyone, from the smallest child to the most respected elder, participates in the seasonal rituals that reaffirm social bonds and remind them of their shared purpose. The Himba woman knows that her individual efforts, no matter how dedicated, are insufficient without this intricate network of mutual responsibility. It is this web of relationships, this collective commitment, that sustains the village. Together, they function as a living archive of culture, skill, and faith, where every member is both a student and a teacher. The well-being of the one is inseparable from the well-being of the all. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes round us. Ultimately, for the Himba, legacy is inseparable from identity. It isn't something you receive upon death. It is something you build and reinforce with every day you live. Each day's labor, whether it's mending a fence, milking a cow, or grinding grain, strengthens the invisible threads that bind the generations together. Each small teaching, a quiet word of advice from a mother to her daughter, reinforces cultural values. Every respectful interaction with the land, the animals, and the community deepens their connection to their heritage. The Himba woman's greatest task is to ensure that her children grow up knowing, with unshakable certainty, who they are, where they come from, and the profound importance of the legacy that has been entrusted to them. This knowledge is their compass, their anchor in a changing world. Through her steadfast guidance, the continuity of the culture is secured not as a collection of static relics in a museum, but as a set of living, breathing practices that thrive and evolve under her careful and loving stewardship. It is a legacy of being, not just remembering. Let us pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. Her story is one of profound endurance, quiet wisdom, and unwavering devotion. It is a narrative written not with ink, but with action. Every gesture, from the gentle way she tends her family's cattle to the focused intensity with which she guides a sacred ritual, reverberates across time. These actions ripple backward, honoring the ancestors, and forward, paving the way for the descendants. Through her, the spirit of the Himba people remains vibrant, visible, and gloriously unbroken. This is the sacred inheritance she guards not with weapons or walls, but with her hands, her heart, and her entire life. As the Namibian sun dips behind the distant hills, the plains cool beneath a gentle evening breeze. It's in this quiet moment that we pause to reflect on the life we've traced today. The Himba woman moves through a world defined by rhythm, by labor, and by reverence. Her hands touch the earth, her eyes scan the horizons, and her body bends and rises with the cattle. In every single act, she enacts both duty and devotion. Here, labor is not just about survival, it's a form of prayer. A daily ritual that honors ancestors, sustains family, and maintains a sacred harmony with the natural world around her. Each strand of hair braided with ochre, each careful smear of the red paste, each ritual performed at dawn or dusk, carries stories that are older than memory itself. Her body is a living manuscript, her movements inscribed with history, symbolism, and profound care. Through her touch, the children learn the land's secrets. Through her patience, they learn the songs of their ancestors. And through her diligence, they inherit the discipline needed to carry these ancient practices forward. She is not only a herder, but a historian, a teacher, and a guardian of all that has been entrusted to her across generations. The challenges she faces are many: the unforgiving sun, the scarce tolls, the constant threat of wild predators, and the ever-present call of modern change encroaching on her world. Yet, she navigates these challenges with a quiet poise, teaching resilience not as some abstract virtue, but as a daily, embodied practice. Every long walk across the plains, every chore completed in the village, every act of care toward her family and cattle alike is a lesson in balance, responsibility, and respect. The Himba woman has this incredible ability to transform the mundane into sacred repetition, ensuring that each day's work resonates with a purpose that goes far beyond its immediate demands. Community, family, and ancestry are deeply interwoven into the fabric of her life. She tirelessly sustains the connections that give meaning to her labor. The laughter shared while fetching water from a distant well, the whispered instructions to her daughters as they learn the intricate art of braiding. Here, the quiet guidance offered to her sons as they follow the ancient herding paths. She is the conduit through which tradition flows, expertly blending practical necessity with cultural memory. Each teaching, each gesture, is like a verse in a song that will continue to echo long after the sun has set and the vast plains rest in shadow. Even as she faces the influences of the outside world tourists with their cameras, new schools, and a growing global curiosity, the Himba woman holds firm. With remarkable wisdom, she discerns which practices to share, which to preserve privately, and which modern innovations might harmonize with her traditions without eroding their sacred core. Through her vigilance, the culture she embodies remains resilient, evolving without ever losing its soul. The village, the landscape, the cattle, and the children all become extensions of her teaching, living proof that a legacy is not just something you remember, it's something you enact, moment by moment, breath by breath. In reflecting upon her life, we come to recognize a profound truth. For her, labor is love, service is prayer, and the body itself becomes a living story. The Himba woman's endurance is more than just physical. It is spiritual, cultural, and moral. She carries within her hands the continuity of generations, within her voice the wisdom of elders, and within her heart the courage to sustain life, culture, and spirit in a world that is constantly demanding change. As we close this journey under Namibia's vast, starlit skies, we see the Himba woman not simply as a laborer or a caretaker, but as a historian, a teacher, and a living testament to the enduring power of culture. Her story reminds us that history is not only found in written chronicles, but in the daily devotion of those who live, honor, and protect it. Every gesture, every step across the plains, every ritual, and every single act of care weaves the fabric of a people's identity, safeguarding it against the erasure of time. And so, with the deepest reverence for her hands, her body, and her life, we end this reflection, knowing that the legacy of the Himba woman endures etched into the land, inscribed in the eyes of the children, and resonating in the heartbeats of all who witness her incredible devotion. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing to our channel for more stories that connect us to our shared humanity. We'll see you next time. You are under Baobab skies.